Hello there, Dhruvaji. Hello, Dhruva.
Maharaj, good morning.
Need to turn your audio up.
Okay, that's maximum volume. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Hello, Haima.
Shankara, namaste. Good morning.
Namaste. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so much. I will be right back.
Hello, Beverly. Dhruva, would you talk one more time? What I'm going to do is turn you up a little bit on the volume here. He seems to have left the building.
Excuse me, Shankar?
Yes, just go ahead and talk.
All right. I can't tell. I can't make it any louder than.
No, you don't need to make it louder. I just did. I had my volume turned down very low.
All right.
So, now you're quite understandable. Thank you.
Okay.
So little Richard has left the building. So many seem to be taking this opportunity to take a ticket out.
Well, he was 83 years old, I think they said.
83 or 87, I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, 87, yeah.
Bone cancer, my goodness. Bone cancer. Good morning, Justine.
Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning.
Om Namah Shivaya. And there's somebody who's sitting outdoors. That's Haima.
Brother Shankar, I'm sitting in my backyard. It's so beautiful outside.
It is beautiful outside.
Birds are chirping and the sun is just perfect. Perfect temperatures outside.
Hang on just a second. I'm going to go close the door so that the noises from the kitchen won't be intrusive. People seem to forget that we have a talk and they start the machines, washing machine, dryer, and so on. Good morning, Dennis. Namaste. Good morning, Dr. Majmudar. Namaste.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I can see you, I can hear you, but sometimes even when I cannot see you, even when I cannot hear you, I hear you.
There you are. That's the power that
There's a power, yes.
that Vivekananda speaks about in the powers of the mind.
Yes. But then Ramakrishna spoke about the power of attorney.
Yes.
And now I understand that Ramakrishna was much cleverer than what we give him credit for.
Oh, well, some of us.
Yes. Yes.
I think he is the very definition of cleverness.
Very definition of cleverness.
Good morning, Naveen. Hari Om, Namaste.
Namaste.
Oh, there's Shaman Shashi, I believe. Good morning, Namaste.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day indeed.
Namaste, Brother Shankara. Namaste, everybody.
Good
This is
morning,
Swami.
good morning.
Namaste, namaste.
And I think I see Sundar has joined us.
Hi, Sundar. You're doing okay?
Yes, good.
Sundar, you'll need to turn your sound down so that there isn't feedback. We've got just a few minutes more. We always wait till just a couple of minutes after the hour, just as we do when we're in the chapel. Morning, Keith.
Good morning, Brother Shankara. Good morning, everybody.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Morning, Paul.
Good morning, Brother Shankara.
Namaste, brother.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day.
It is. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Good morning, Liam. Namaste.
Morning, Brother Shankara.
Okay, there's Uma. We'll wait just a couple of more minutes and then we'll start with our announcements. Well, I believe Cindy Craven has joined us. Good morning and namaste, dear. For those of you who know Cindy and can see the picture of her there, those instruments on the wall back there are not decoration. Those are working tools.
Nice.
Hello.
Good morning, Uma. Namaste.
Namaste.
Haima, good to see you.
Hari Om, Hari Om. All right, we will begin with the chanting of the Om and then do the announcements. Just as a reminder about the coronavirus, the center will remain closed in May, except for evening arati, which is now at 6:30. And if you wish, you can come for the private practice of meditation. All classes and talks are live streamed using Zoom. Information about this is on the website, in your e-newsletter, and on our Facebook page. Recordings of all classes and talks are available soon after they are given on the center's YouTube channel. And a lot of people are making use of that, I notice. With regard to next weekend, please plan to attend the Center's annual meeting of the congregation on May 17th at 11 a.m. using Zoom. Of course, as always, you'll hear reports from your Board of Trustees and from me. And as usual, we will elect trustees for the coming year. Unfortunately, we won't be able to share lunch together as we always have done. During May and June, we are inviting guest speakers to offer us talks using the Zoom app. We'll keep you posted through the website, the Facebook page, and our newsletter. I'm happy to report that on May 24th, Brother Dhruva, Mother willing, will talk with us via Zoom about chapter 12 of the Gita. And on June 14th, we'll hear from Ryan New Collins about her experience as a householder following the teachings of Nisargadatta Maharaj. And because it hasn't been said formally already, Happy Mother's Day. We'll start with our usual invitation to study together the art of spirituality, this beautiful translation by Swami Yogeshanananda. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the divine being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the divine being support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us. Om, peace, peace. Peace be unto us and to all beings everywhere. And now, because it is Mother's Day, there is a poem. Not a song, but a poem. It's titled Ma and Pa in Georgia. After we have finished worshiping her in our shrine on a Saturday or a Tuesday, Sri Sharda slips out of her red-bordered sari and puts on a simple house dress. Then you may find her in the kitchen of their North Georgia Hill Country cabin, chopping vegetables, soaking kidney beans for chili or red beans and rice, or skinning the fish that Rakal catches in a nearby pond. He doesn't live with Ma and Pa. The master has him busy working all over the world. Maybe you've heard of his adventures in Hollywood, California, and in Brazil. Sometimes, though, if you're lucky, you'll find Mother out on their front porch, picking a lively tune on her banjo and watching the master and Ramana Maharshi dance. Happy Mother's Day to our Divine Mother and to all of you. And welcome to this Sunday's gathering. So nice to see all of you there. The topic this morning is a mother's love. First, we'll talk about, as we always do, about what kind of month it is and what we're studying in general. May is a month for the study of karma yoga, a spiritual path leading to the abandonment of selfishness. As a karma yogi, you practice offering your actions and their results, as well as your perceptions, thoughts, and feelings to the divine presence. Even before fully knowing this presence, you hold firmly to the belief that the presence is within each person or other living being that you interact with or serve. Working and abiding in this spirit, you are increasingly able to release attachment to your activities and their results. This yields the freedom and contentment promised by Karma Yoga. And here is Krishna's promise. Quote, even a little practice of this yoga will save you from the terrible wheel of rebirth and death. That's Krishna in the Gita, chapter 2. So as I said, the topic this morning is a mother's love. Swami Swahananda, head of the Vedanta Society of Southern California, took responsibility for the Vedanta Center of Atlanta when Swami Yogeshanandaji retired. Swahananda was very devoted to the Divine Mother. He encouraged some of his disciples to study the Devi Mahatmyam, the Chandi, 700 verses in praise of the goddess of the universe. When Swahananda left the body in 2012, Swami Sarvadevananda took charge of the Vedanta Society in Southern California and our center. He also encourages some of his disciples to study the Chandi and what it teaches us about the Divine Mother. Now, here's a warning. The following that you will hear is not meant as instruction for you. It is observation and to some extent speculation. We're all trying to make sense of what we see in the world right now. This is an attempt from here. I thought you might like to hear what sense is being made of this here. Take from it what you like. Take from it what you like. The Chandi tells of 3 instances in which the goddess rescues the world from demonic forces, called in the Chandi asuras and daityas. Now, these are not alien beings from some other planet. They are beings that live here. They are human beings, and there are demonic beings in subtle form too, just as there are angelic beings in subtle form. But the asuras and the daityas are not something otherworldly. They're the demonic, people of demonic nature living in the world. So they're called asuras and daityas. In each instance, these beings who are said to hate righteousness overpower the mother's servants, the devas or gods. Robbed of their prowess, the devas can no longer sustain and protect Earth, who is herself a goddess or Devi, and all the life forms that live here with her. The daityas, the asuras, overpower the devas and the human beings, and they take possession, take charge. Now, what do we mean by devas, for those of you who don't know? Devas are a subtle form of being that is in charge of protecting and sustaining every kind of life form that exists on Earth, and probably those things that are inert as well, but certainly the life forms. For example, in British Columbia, a forester studying trees discovered to her amazement that among a grove of trees is a mother tree. That this mother tree provides not only nourishment and medication to the other trees, but encourages them to share resources, water, those things that help fight off infection. Now, whether she is herself, that mother tree, whether she is herself a deva or simply in communication with, in cooperation with the deva, the forester, of course, didn't say or know. but we can say that she definitely is allied with the deva who's responsible for those trees and that kind of tree in that place. They are innumerable, the devas. One of the things that really caught my attention was that the devas are no longer able to protect the great cetaceans that live in the sea, the whales, the dolphins. Various kinds of activities that are taking place, great explosions under the sea to investigate for recoverable resources, oil and so on. These explosions are so loud, it's unimaginable to us. Just imagine an air horn that you hear at a sporting event and then multiply that by 17,000 times. This is what one of those explosions is like. Of course, it blows the ears out of the whales and the dolphins. They lose their ability to hunt because they rely on sound rather than vision. They lose their ability to get out of the way of ships, to know when ships are coming. So we find that whales are being run over by ships because they're helpless. They don't know. And so they're killed or severely injured. And so they beach themselves and die. The devas are no longer able to protect them. Now, these are great intelligent creatures. These are our brothers and sisters in another form. And of course, this now, you know that hundreds of regulations are being rolled back that protect human beings and other forms of life from exploitation. So this all works into what I'm about to tell you. Each time in the Chandi that this happens, in these three instances, the helpless devas explain their situation to the Divine Mother and plead for her help. She is, of course, moved by their plight and her love, as we'll see, of all her children. So each time, drawing every deva's power unto herself, the mother defeats the demonic forces and restores order. Each of the Chandi's three stories tells a tale of great carnage and destruction as their mother overcomes her violent, arrogant, defiant children. Now, having studied the Chandi for years and knowing what it says about how and why each of these instances happened in the past, from here, what is happening right now around the world looks very much like the opening of another chapter of the Chandi. This morning, we'll explain why that thought arose and discuss how the Divine Mother may be purifying and lifting up all of creation, including her children of demonic nature. As we'll hear later from saints, there is no separation between what appears to be a good human being, an angelic human being, and a demonic human being. They behave differently, they do differently, but in fact, they are not separate. As the Chandi's first story opens, Brahma, the God in charge of creation, as we know, says to the Divine Mother, his mother, quote, You are the great knowledge and the great illusion, the great intelligence, the great memory, and the great delusion, the great goddess, and the great demoness. So this is something for us to keep firmly in our minds as we consider what is happening around us. Mother has her terrible forms as well as her benign forms. You are the great knowledge and the great illusion, the great intelligence, the great memory, and the great delusion, the great goddess and the great demoness. Brahma praises her and pleads on behalf of the devas for her to confound and slay two unassailable asuras. The devas have not been able to withstand the depredations, the arrogant takeover of these two unassailable asuras, Madhu and Kaitaba. She does as she is asked, and Madhu and Kaitaba are defeated. It's not a pretty picture. As part of the next story, the defeat of the great demon Mahisasura, these remarkable phrases are, I'll start this again. As part of the next story, the second story in the Chandi, the defeat of the great demon Mahisasura, these remarkable phrases are sung by Indra, king of the gods, and the hosts of devas and sages, for whom Mother has won this second victory. This is what they chant. The world attains happiness when you slay its foes. The world attains happiness when you slay its foes. And though they have committed enough evil to keep them long in torment, even as you strike down your enemies, O Devi, you think, may they reach heaven through death in battle with me. Why does your mere glance not reduce all ashes to mere, why does your mere glance not reduce all ashes? I'll try again here. Why does your mere glance not reduce all asuras to ashes? Because when assailed by your weapons and thus purified, even those adversaries may attain the higher worlds. Even toward them, your intentions are most gracious. If the intense light flashing frightfully from your sword, or the glaring brilliance of your spear point did not blind the asura's eyes, it was because you made them also behold the moon-like radiance beaming from your face. O Devi, your nature is to subdue the misconduct of the wicked. Others cannot equal your inconceivable grace, for even while your might destroys those who have wrested power from the gods, you show compassion toward those very foes. So the consideration and speculation from here is that what we're seeing is the beginning of another one of these corrections. The selfish, the unyielding, the defiant, the violent, the arrogant have taken charge of so much and are exploiting it ruthlessly and carelessly, even joyously. This is exactly how the asuras are described, the daityas and the asuras are described in the Chandi. So this great correction that we're seeing, Mother brought the whole of the world through this virus. Mother brought the whole world to a virtual standstill. So much so that the seismologists, those who study earthquakes and volcanoes, they, the seismologists and volcanologists, they have very sensitive instruments that measure the amount of noise, the amount of vibration that's in the atmosphere and in the earth. It was down by more than half during the height of this shutdown. So Mother has proven and gave an example of her power. And as we see, many, many are choosing to ignore the warning signs, choosing not to be humble in the face of it, make up stories about how it happened, make up stories about the inflation of the death figures and of the infection figures. And so, what can we expect? It will continue, and perhaps even worsen. That's the opinion of some medical and scientific experts, which will result in a further shutdown and further economic dislocation. But as we know from what we saw before all this began, that 90% of the wealth of this nation was being sucked up to only 2% of the population. The productivity had been simply claimed by those who could do it by their power and their force. So we're seeing a disruption of their power. These asuras, these daityas, we're seeing whether they will make any change in the way they behave. And if they don't, then we can expect that it will continue to worsen. But what is so remarkable is that while Mother is, though in a painful way, saving all of us, she is also lifting up those who have become so misguided. And this just must fill us with reverence and awe if we look at it carefully. Reverence and awe. What in the world? If we're to believe the saints, this is what is so. This is the testimony of three saints. First, Saint Catherine of Siena. And those of you who don't know Saint Catherine of Siena, I suggest you look her up. She's truly a remarkable woman. Strange, she once said, that so much suffering is caused because of the misunderstanding of God's true nature. God's heart is more gentle than the Virgin Mary's first kiss upon the Christ. And God's forgiveness to all, to any thought or act. I'm going to repeat that. And God's forgiveness to all, to any thought or act, is more certain than our own being. This is the testimony. And by the way, this is echoed across the saints, across the millennia, across the traditions. Here are some words from Hafiz, a Persian saint. The title of this is Each Soul Completes Me. It offers an explanation for what Saint Catherine of Siena said. Each soul completes me. My beloved said, my name is not complete without yours. I thought, how could a human's worth ever be such? And God, knowing all our thoughts, and all our thoughts are innocent steps on the path, then addressed my heart. God revealed a sublime truth to the world when he sang, I am made whole by your life. Each soul completes me. Which is the same thing that Brahma was saying to the mother when he said, you are the great goddess as well as the great demoness. Swami Vivekananda, singing about Sri Ramakrishna in Breaker of the World's Chains, says this, love, who art partial to none, we are equal before thy sight. Not equal except no qualifications or conditions. So here's how this registered with me, all of these considerations. It's so easy to be angry with the asuras and the daityas. And of course, we must have a kind of righteous anger that allows us to impose them and not become doormats for them, to set our own boundaries and say this far and no farther, as best we can. But they have created situations that insist that you pay so much in taxes when they pay none at all. There's nothing we can do about that, except vote. If we're given the opportunity, vote. But the remarkable thing is that our anger will avail us nothing. Our unrighteous anger will avail nothing. But as Sri Krishna says in the Gita, chapter 3, it'll just serve to confuse us and cause us to lose our discrimination and therefore miss the purpose of life. Because we can continue to pursue the purpose of life, in which it is necessary for our hearts to be open, which is why all of this was said this morning, open to the possibility that what is going on is not just the salvation of the planet, not just the salvation of mother's obedient children, but the salvation of all of us, even those who have become so misguided and so strayed. I'm going to read these three saints again, what these three saints said. It's so instructive to us. Saint Catherine of Siena. Strange, she once said, that so much suffering is caused because of the misunderstanding of God's true nature. God's heart is more gentle than the Virgin Mary's first kiss upon the Christ. And God's forgiveness to all, to any thought or act, is more certain than our own being. And then an explanation of why that can be from Hafiz. Each soul completes me. My beloved said, my name is not complete without you. I thought, how could a human's worth ever be such? And God, knowing all our thoughts, and all our thoughts are innocent steps on the path, then addressed my heart. God revealed a sublime truth to the world when he said, I am made whole by you, or I am made whole by your life. Each soul completes me. And put so simply, Swami Vivekananda, singing about Sri Ramakrishna and breaker of the world's chain, sings, love who art partial to none, we are equal before thy sight. Now, I'm sure that all of you who are with us this morning have had many, many thoughts about what's going on. This coronavirus, all of the things that are going on in the world that we can say rob the devas of their prowess. What are your thoughts? What are your questions? This is where we do this together, and it is the most beautiful part. This was meant to stir us up. As I said in the beginning, this is not meant as instruction to you. This is not meant as something that you have to take and make your own, and that's not the purpose. These are thoughts that came from here and assembled in this way so that we could have a frame of reference in which to discuss this. Anyone?
Brother
You
Shankara?
had mentioned,
Somebody go first.
go ahead, Hama.
Okay. This is Haima, Brother Shankara.
Yes, Haima.
When you started the sentence with the asuras, I thought we are surrounded by asuras right now. I'm waiting for Chandi to come in some form. Already there is one Chandi going on around the world, but we need another Chandi to destroy these asuras who are exploiting, like you said. So hopefully it's repeating like all those asuras in the past.
Well, that's why it was said that this looks like the opening of another chapter of the Chandi.
Exactly. Thank you. That was very nice.
Thank you, dear. Who else was it that I missed who it was that wanted to speak?
Oh, in response to Haima, I've been in communication with Swami Harinamananda, and he repeated the mantra that the devas repeated when the asuras took over. So I can put that in the chat if anyone's interested. And it does seem that humanity has been overpowered by this virus. So we do seem to be in that state. This virus is different, very different from other viruses, in that scientists seem to think it's a hybrid of two viruses. It has a very long shelf life. Most viruses just survive a few seconds, and this one survives like days. And even if it doesn't kill you, it does permanent damage to your body. And that makes me think this may have come from a biological warfare laboratory. It's easy to fall into righteous anger towards asuras who seem to almost enjoy doing harm to others. How can we not fall into that mental trap?
Well, if we think that They are all the self. They are all part of what completes the divine presence. It disenables our ability to judge them. How can we stand above the divine presence? That does not. We have to insist that their predation not affect us as much as we can. But we have been overpowered. I mean, they own Congress. They own the instruments of government. They own the instruments of power. The oligarchs, the asuras. Many in Congress, many in the legislatures at the state level are paid felons. I mean, it isn't just me who said this, it's Jimmy Carter. They've been bribed to be felonious. That is, by that I mean to betray the oath of office that they took. So our righteous anger should power us to do what we can, especially vote and contribute some financially and in any way we can to those who look like they might be able to make a difference if they were put in office.
My friends who are decent people who have considered running for political offices, they've actually considered running. They don't like it because it's a dirty game. Politics is such a dirty game, which is too bad. So I guess all we can do is vote.
There are some really good players, some guys and women who are clean. Adam Schiff is one. Alexandra, what's her name? Cortez, something like AOC, whatever, Ocasio-Cortez. She's been vetted as closely as anyone can and found to be. And Greta Thunberg, she's a politician, believe you me. She is playing a political game, and bless her heart.
Brother Shankara?
Yes, dear.
Okay, can I say something?
Of course you may. That's why you're here.
Okay, so I think my take on the whole thing about the viruses and biological warfare is, again, there's a denial by human beings that this virus is bred in nature, you know? And I have worked with viruses, and they can mutate, they can become anything they want to. This is how viruses adapt. And
Yes,
so, you know.
This one is remarkably adaptive and it mutates very quickly.
And so I think that if you really try to understand this in a logic in your own mind, the place where it originated from, the way it originated was in a place where it spread there first, then another place, then here. So that doesn't make any sense. That's not how biological warfare works. If it was truly that, then it would come straight here before it went anywhere else. So I believe that mankind, because we have not dealt with it properly, and you know nobody has, doesn't want to believe that this is from nature, and maybe it's a retribution or there's a denial there, you know.
Yes, we have to be careful about words like retribution. That doesn't seem to be the nature of Mother. It's not about retribution. She is restoring order. It is her nature to subdue the conduct of the wicked, but not exact retribution. It's not punishment. It's simply this cannot abide, and so it's stopped. So we have to be careful about judgment words like retribution. Otherwise, I agree with you totally, Girish.
And could we also say that this could be a result of a karma, maybe not retribution, a karma, because
clearly it's karma, yes.
And if you know about, viruses have said to have evolved from our dead cells.
Is it so?
Yes, you know, we evolved from bacteria and other microbes, but viruses were not there at the beginning of time. After we came, all our dead cells, somehow they got together and they basically formed a virus. And that's the origin.
That's interesting. Yogeshanandaji once said that mosquitoes were the manifestation of our lower thoughts. So that certainly would fit with what you were just saying. That viruses are a manifestation of our lower selves.
Brother Shankara.
Yes, Uma.
Yes, I'm trying to connect this coronavirus and the calamity and the destruction all over the world with what it has to do with mother's love. So the way I think that Chandi that you mentioned in Chandi part represents the demonic and the divine, both elements in one. That in Vedanta and Hinduism, demonic is not separate. It's within all of us, just as divine is in all of us. So, mother's love can be tough if children misbehave. A mother can just look at with her red eye, just like Mother Kali. And she can really not punish, but let the child know what are the limits of misbehavior. So that way I think Chandi Path is an excellent example of how Chandi, that is Durga, handled Mahishasura. And Mahishasura can be compared on account of his arrogance, his defiance, as you put it, and utter destructive power.
Yes.
Which Mother Kali and Chandi both acknowledged and considered to be not helping the humankind.
No. Indeed.
Not at all. So that's why I would not say that she wanted to be or she was a bad mother. But mother has to do sometimes what mothers do.
No, nothing that was said was meant to indicate that mother was a bad mother.
No, not at all. Not at all bad mother. But I would say that mother has to assume both forms and not has to, but mother represents both divine and demonic in one.
But this is where the Chandi starts.
Exactly.
Brahma's declaration.
Yes.
About her, that she is the great goddess as well as the great demon.
So I hope that she eliminates or at least makes the Mahishasura of coronavirus go away.
Well,
vanish.
When its work is done. The coronavirus is not the Mahishasura. The coronavirus is mother's weapon.
To do
Mahishasura is those who are trying to pretend that the coronavirus is not as serious as it is. Those are the people of Mahishasura's temperament. The coronavirus is not going to go away until its work is done.
So you think it's an instrument to punish?
Not punish. It's not a question of punish. This is why I said what I said about the word retribution. It's not a question of punishment.
teach a lesson.
No, not teach a lesson. Restore order.
And subdue the wicked.
So, yes.
Subdue the wicked.
Not punish them, but subdue, rob them of their power.
So keep
Coronavirus is attacking evil and wicked people equally, though. It's not just
Yes,
going
yes. Well,
May I add something?
there's collateral damage. There's collateral damage. No two ways about it. Yes, whoever was that wants to
Yeah,
say.
that was me, Marla.
Yes, Marla.
You know, a good mother, as painful as it is, wants her children to learn independence. And part of that is taking responsibility for their actions and the things that they have created. So painfully, sometimes mothers have to step back and watch, you know, with compassion in their heart, but with just, they must step back and let those things unfold.
Yes.
And humans, we have created a global village where you can be on one side of the earth 1 minute, 24 hours you're on the other side of the earth. So we have created, you know, through airlines, the perfect distribution system for illnesses.
Yes, we have.
So this is a consequence of the things that, the wonderful things that we have created. We've been, you know, overly confident that we can solve everything, that there's always going to be a vaccine, that there's always going to be the solution, and not think about the consequences of the things that we create. As wonderful as they are, they still have consequences to them.
Yes. And one can question the necessity of even some of our wonders. Here's what the Chandi actually says. O Devi, your nature is to subdue the misconduct of the wicked. Others cannot equal your inconceivable grace, for even while your might destroys those who have wrested power from the gods, you show compassion toward those very foes.
So could you call it a compassionate killing? For example, in Sanskrit, Mahishasura Mardini. Mardini means destroyer. And under her foot, if we notice, there is a head of Mahishasura, and she steps on it. So similarly, you know, whenever there is adharma in the world, in the universe, Krishna says that whenever adharma prevails, I will come back from time to time to establish or re-establish dharma. So this is the time, I think, that we are waiting for some such awakening, either from within or in the form of some divine person who can restore balance.
Well, what the Chandi says is that these the people of Asura nature, they are robbed of their power. Their conduct is subdued. They lose their lives, but they're forgiven, and they attain the higher realms. In other words, they learn what they need to learn to go. They are misguided. This is what all of the saints tell us. The misbehavior of human beings is out of ignorance, not out of, so they become violent and willful and defiant and all of these things. But what did Jesus say on the Sermon on the Mount? Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. What does meek mean? Meek does not mean submissive and groveling. No, meek means ability. It refers to a particular kind of horse. In Aramaic, the word for meek, the word that's translated as meek, refers to a particular kind of horse that can be trained. It has the temperament and courage to be trained to continue to follow instructions and do what's necessary even in the heat of battle. That is a meek horse. And so blessed are the meek. those who are of that temperament and courage to continue following the instructions of the great teacher, the great teachers, even in the heat of battle, such as we're seeing right now. This is a horrible battle that's being fought. And there are people who are trying to pretend it isn't so.
Hmm. So if at all this pandemic makes us want to be more responsible,
Yes.
that we cannot get away. And believe me, I think in every household, now people are becoming so conscious of cleanliness.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that in Patanjali or somewhere, cleanliness is next to godliness.
Mm.
It says
That's in the niyamas, yes.
yes,
It's one of the observances, cleanliness.
is equal to godliness. So
Right.
godliness.
That became an aphorism. It
Yeah.
isn't what Patanjali says, but
Yeah.
The idea of cleanliness, yes, we want cleanliness because cleanliness will help us assure that the virus won't be transmitted in our household. But far more important is our containment of our restlessness
Mm-hmm.
in this battle situation. Our desire to bolt, our desire to say, oh, to hell with it, and go out without our mask and have a party. You know, there's a lot of that going on, and the cost will be great. The medical experts are already saying, because of the way people are behaving, there will be a second and third wave. And then in November, it was already inevitable that there would be a wave at that time because of the changing weather circumstances. And that will only add to it for those people who, and so those people who are being defiant and something other than meek, they put themselves and, most horribly, many others at risk because of their behavior. But this is inevitable. This is the demonic nature.
So, Brother Shankara, what do you think is the mother's role? What is mother's role here?
Well,
Divine
it's
person.
described very clearly let me read what it says. The world attains happiness. Well, let's just go back. This is what is sung by Indra, the king of the gods, and the hosts of devas and sages, for whom Mother has won this second victory. This is the second victory. And so Indra and the devas and sages sing this. The world attains happiness when you slay its foes. And though they may have committed enough evil to keep them long in torment, even as you strike down your enemies, O Devi, you think, may they reach heaven through death in battle with me. Why does your mere glance not reduce to ashes all asuras by mere sight?
Yep.
Because when assailed by your weapons and thus purified, why does your mere glance not reduce all asuras to ashes? Because when assailed by your weapons, so in other words, she doesn't just vaporize them by her glance, which she could, because when assailed by your weapons and thus purified, even those adversaries may attain the higher worlds. Even toward them, your intentions are most gracious. if the intense light flashing frightfully from your sword, or the glaring brilliance of your spear point did not blind the asuras' eyes, it was because you made them behold the moon-like radiance beaming from your face.
So it means mercy killing. Mercy killing. Mercy killing.
Well, you can say that. She kills them because they won't, she offers them the ability to surrender. She tells them, you're not going to like it if you don't. I mean, if you read the whole Chandi and the stories, you know, each of these is given the opportunity, these demonic leaders, to surrender. And instead they say, no, we're going to take possession of you.
I have a question.
Yes, please. And then Brad, I think, or Brahma does.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, we start out saying, you know, Mother is the great Devi as well as the great Asuri. So we start out with that because she is all of this. So when she is slaying the asuras, she's slaying herself.
Her own children, yes. Herself,
right. So,
yes.
I mean, so it's really important to remember that, I think.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
that's a key.
So that is the reason for her. That's why I read what I read from Hafiz.
Yeah.
Each soul completes me.
Yeah, yeah. And so it seems a little problematic because it seems to kind of go back and forth between she is everything, she's all these things and all these pairs of opposites. But then we go into she's battling, and there's this very powerful imagery of her killing this as if there are two things warring with each other when it's her. It's all her.
Yes.
Or how is that reconciled?
Well,
or is it?
Sri Ramakrishna said there's only one way for us to reconcile these paradoxes that the human mind is not capable of resolving, and that is to come into the neighborhood of God. And then he said, all of these things you see clearly, their resolution. The human mind is simply not capable of comprehending the infinite being.
It's not. It's not. It's surely not. But doesn't it kind of further than the amount of confusion to talk about these very dualistic battles?
Well, we see it going on right in front of us. It's hard not to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Well, thank you, dear. This is you're right on. Brahmadas, did you have something?
Yeah, in response to what you said, Cindy, it did further my confusion when I read the Chandi. However, when I attended Swami Harinamananda's lectures on it, he equates that to a spiritual battle, and then it sunk in. So if you want, I'll send you that lecture because it's really good. Now, I liked your definition of meek, Brother Shankara, because I never felt we should knuckle under to bullies. And I think Jesus should have made that more clear in the Sermon on the Mount, that that's what he meant. Now, per the instruction of great teachers, as a meek person would do, like Sri Ramakrishna, he says living in solitude is a good chance to do your spiritual practices.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. However, I'm hearing that domestic violence, drug and alcohol abuse, and even suicides have increased dramatically as a result of this. Is that
Those
true?
people are not living in solitude. Those people are living physically apart from others, but they're living in small groups. This is not solitude. Sri Ramakrishna means by solitude, he means like you're living alone.
Yeah. So what a great opportunity for some, and a terrible situation for others.
The compression, Haima could tell us all about it. The compression that takes place when you have people of unresolved natures with unresolved issues, you put them close together and in a compressed situation, the fuses get lit and bad things happen. So there's no contradiction between that and what Sri Ramakrishna said. By solitude, he meant alone. If you remember, he tells M, go off and find a place where you can be by yourself, just by yourself, for 3 days.
May I add to that?
Please.
If we all recall, Warden Pond of, what's the word, Thoreau. Thoreau went to Warden Pond just to be in complete solitude, far from the maddening crowd.
Yes.
That is where he studied Gita.
Yes.
That is where he appreciated the supreme value of not being just alone, but in company of your own best self.
Yes.
To discover his self, he went in the woods.
Yes.
And he volunteered to do that. So in a lighter way.
Not only did he volunteer to do that, he worked with his friends to enable him to do it.
Yes. And friend being Emerson and others.
Yes, Ralph Waldo Emerson and others.
So the way I bring it in modern context, that Corona, in a way, if you want to look at the positive side, has enforced us as if to live by yourself, in yourself, away from all the usual humdrum of life and all that noise and pollution and all those things. Now, it could also have a negative effect on those who are troubled, who cannot handle being by themselves.
Yes.
And that's where the crime comes in. But I think there is a difference between remaining in solitude for one person as against the other. So if you are troubled, then there is no use of being alone.
And this is why it's so important for us to always remember and keep firmly in mind that karma is not punishment.
Yes.
Karma is the effect of causes that you have created. It is not someone sitting and saying, I'll dole out this because of that. No, it is an automatic equation. And it's true that you can lessen it by your practices. Why? Because you've already learned the lesson that karma would have taught you. So there's no need for you to experience what would have taught you that lesson. You've already learned it. And one of the lessons is to be nearer, my God, to thee through your spiritual practices. And that's what Holy Mother says. Holy Mother says, chant the name of the Lord, and you will then be closer. You will draw nearer to the divine presence, which purifies you automatically. Holiness itself shall transform you. And so you do not need to be purified by your karma. Right now, what is happening is a great purification being brought on by the past actions and the present actions of many people that are violent, defiant, and self-centered only. And so, unfortunately, as Brahmadas brought up earlier, there is collateral damage. And just exactly how and why that is this is where our human minds reach their limit.
Brother Shankar?
Yes, Bhagarat, always good to hear from you.
All right. Now I've been listening. There are a few thoughts in my mind I wanted to share.
Please.
Number one, Chandi part should not be limited to recitation of the shlokas in that book.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes it helps us to read in between lines rather than reading the lines alone.
Mm-hmm.
For example, two illustrations come from Chandi part which I never emphasized. Number one, in Devi Sukta, the last one it says, Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Bhranti Rupena Sansita. Even that this is Mother Devi is also an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very important for us to know. And the second thing, after doing all the things which devas wished happen, then she asks again, is there anything I have left? In which case I can do it. And then they say, Na kinchit avashishyate. Now we do not want anything anymore. That is where the problem right now comes, because we never say everything is done, we don't want anything more. No, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more.
Oh, yeah.
That is where Chandi will be once again Chandi. That
Thank you,
there's an
Bhagarat.
anecdotal story. There is an anecdotal story of George Washington. It's anecdotal that once his mother, George Washington, they were in that prayer room. They were praying. And George Washington's son, or whatever it is, was making noise. So George Washington slapped him. You are not supposed to make any noise when we are in a prayer session. So his mother slapped George Washington. So they say, you are slapping the president of the country? He says, no. If he was president of the country, I would never slap him. But he behaved like a typical father who should not do what he should not do in the prayer room. So he punished his son, I punished my son. This is the Chandi Swarup that we are talking about. There is a justice in that one. And that justice we have to learn, because
as we would say lightheartedly, George Washington received his instant karma.
yes, instant. Now you do, now you pay for it.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is that now the whole train of thinking is that it's going to be a woman who is going to save the earth. Amazing how it came into very leading journals like Time that now we are leaning on a woman's force to lead us, whether it is ecology, whether it is science, whether it is the betterment of the world. And I can see that because a woman has that inherent power to promote and nourish justice, which a man sometimes lacks because he is always carried away by his power without recognizing a higher power. But having said that, all women are not virtuous either. And that's the reason why it's not a gender-related quality. I think Mala brought it up, indirect way, but I believe in that one. That if you do proper, in that case, if every mother becomes a true mother, then I think most of our problems will be solved.
Yes.
And we need to emphasize that.
If you want to see this leadership of a woman in action, you can find online the talks of the head of the health department of the state of Ohio, who is a woman. She is absolutely remarkable.
What's
She
the
is absolutely remarkable.
What's the name of the talk?
I don't remember her. Just head of the health department, state of Ohio. You Google that, you'll find her stuff. It's on YouTube. She's just quintessentially a leader in the very best sense of the word. Not only does she provide good leadership, but great compassion and great understanding of what it is that she's asking of people. So it isn't just directive. It's, I was so impressed by her. So impressed by her.
Her name is Dr. Amy, A-M-Y Acton, A-C-T-O-N, Amy Acton.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Cindy.
Brother Shankara,
Yes, dear.
I'm just thinking that what we call mother, we recognize the motherhood, the element of motherhood, whether it is in a feminine form or in a male form.
Mm-hmm.
The qualities of motherhood, which is compassion, which is self-sacrifice, unconditional love, all these which are associated with a mother are more to me like motherly qualities.
Yes.
Can exist in male as well as female.
Yes.
So, and I think scientifically also, it is said that every man is half male and half female, just like Lord Shiva or Shankara. He is portrayed as half woman and half man. And always it is called Ardha. Ardha means half. Ardha, Nari, woman, Nara. Ardha, Nari, Nareshwara. So we all, I think all of us possess these qualities of motherhood in us, regardless of whether I'm born a woman or you're born a man.
Well,
That's what I wanted to bring.
I couldn't agree with you more, Uma. It calls to mind that remark made by Mirabai when she was not allowed into the temple in Vrindavan. And she called the chief priest out to talk with her. And she said, "Are not all souls female before God?"
Yeah.
And the story goes, he took her by the hand and led her into the temple.
Mm.
And yes, that feminine side, it is well brought, it is well for men to bring that to the fore. Swami Sarvadevananda, the very last part of the great master, talks about that, about the Madhura Bhava, and how it is good for men to practice the Madhura Bhava, to be female before God.
I think it should be Vatsalya Bhava. Vatsalya is mother's love toward children.
Yes, well, that's another, but he was speaking specifically to men about practicing the Madhura Bhava.
Brother Shankar, that's why I was thinking, Haima's wish that a Chandi now comes and takes care of everything needs to be modified. That let us awaken the Chandi spirit in each one of us, so that anything which is right is supported and nourished by us, and anything wrong anywhere, we immediately take care of it. Then we would not have to run into larger calamities to learn our lesson automatically, like this country was running beautifully. We can go back to the same order if we do not give the responsibility to Chandi, but take the responsibility for the Chandi who is residing in us, and then there is no problem.
Ah, beautifully said, Bhagavan. Yes, of course. But of course, that's what got us into this situation we're in, is that not enough of us did that over the last half century to prevent this. We did not stand, and we did not make a stand against those who were very deliberately and very consciously and very continuously seizing the power and overcoming and robbing the prowess of the devas. So now it becomes a rearguard battle, and it's very tempting like the devas, go to mother and say, and I think it may have already been done, Bhagarat. I think the train has left the station.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean each one of us shouldn't do our part. You're absolutely right. We can be part of the solution,
Yeah.
not part of the problem.
Mm.
But I think in terms of my own estimation anyway, is that the train has left the station. That this is the beginning of a great correction.
Hope so.
I just want to add one thing, Brother Shankara,
Yes,
for all
dear.
your wisdom, Dr. Majmudar and yours. It's this corona is like the bitter medicine mother gives it to children to get better. A lot of times as a mother, I give bitter medicine for a cough, for an infection to my children. They don't like it, but they'll have to take it to get better. So this is resetting the nature, and the Chandi has to come. I meant was like the asuras who are governing in exploitatively and with selfishness and self-centeredness and ignorance, like you said. And that Chandi I'm waiting for. That's
Very good, very good. Agree.
Durga, waiting for the Durga to do the Mahishasura Mardana. So I think it will happen. I think we're getting step by step closer and closer. The more mistakes Mahishasura does, then the Chandi will really show her true power. Then I think it will take the evil out of the places that where there are asuras. I just wanted to add that.
It's like a compassionate chastising.
Yes.
Oh, what is that song in Sound of Music? With a spoonful of medicine.
A spoonful of medicine, a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. The medicine go down.
Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Mary Poppins.
Mary
Yeah.
Poppins, not Sound of Music. Yeah.
All right, dears. Well, it's well past noon. It's 12:20. So unless there's something else compelling, how wonderful you were all here. I'll wind it up. Oh, dearly beloved, a flower at your feet for each one who comes to your open door. A flower at your feet for each one who stands by your open door and says, come to me, offering to break this world's chain that binds us down to ignorance, suffering, and death. A flower at your feet for each one who takes the path that you have struck through this, your jungle world. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto us and to all beings everywhere. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Durga, Durga, Durga. Go in sweet mother's protection.
Thank you so much, Brother Shankara.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Brother
Mother's
Shankara.
Day, everybody.
Bye. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Be safe.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Lori.
Bye.
Bye.